like some grad schools are very heavy theory based, and others are more studio based, where they just throw you in a studio and you make art. And then they tell you, and then they ask you if you're, it's like, can you defend it? Okay, cool, and then bye. you know, and I went to like Cal Arts that was very theoretical, very, I'm like, I'm still traumatized. I go to,
I know.
therapy is like, they're like, can we stop talking about the Cal Arts? And I'm like, it's a hateful school,
No,
It's
well,
like,
I mean that's who I got into back in like 2013, and
mm,
I didn't go because one of the things that they told me is that they're gonna tear you down to build you up, and I was like, that's cult.
yeah,
That's
it's a
classic
cult.
cult. And I knew a bunch of people from there, and they just there is a very weird like relationship that they have with each other that I don't think that like I mean I know that CSUN because
Yeah,
like
season.
I know some of the people from Monte Vista from CSUN, and
Mm-hmm.
they're what's it called? Like they're not they're just supportive of each other. They're not
Yeah.
like cultish in like we only talk to each other and we snob at everyone else.
Yeah, that's funny to mention because Cal Arts is like that too. But from my experience, Cal Arts is more about like if you're a cool kid,
Oh,
if you're
okay.
kind of cool with if you come from a certain background, money is always like number one, and you have some
Really?
kind of
Okay.
status, and you could be a person of color and have money there too, and you can be very called the cool kids. And then like somebody like me, for example, coming from East LA and going to Cal Arts, that's very valley oriented and very like that area. There's some like class difference. There's some attitudes like, oh, they look down at you because you don't have money or whatnot. So there's a lot of that too, and they
Yeah.
only talk to each other because they're cool. Whereas me, I'm like, I mean, people like me and then people don't like me, and I'm okay with that as far as Cal Arts. But it's funny to think about all that, to go back to like thinking about, because Kellarts is like, it's like there's some weird spiritual thing there, because I think it was built on like some old reservation or some kind of like, there's some
Oh,
graveyard or
really?
something.
There's
Yeah,
hoodoo.
I think that's what I heard from multiple stories, and I go, it would make sense because that there's a dark energy there.
Really?
Oh
Well,
yeah,
I mean, going back to the cult commentary. I
yeah.
mean, I don't say that lightly. I think that like
No,
it's also
it's
it's remote. It's detached from like all of your fucking friends.
yes,
You go to
yes,
Cal Arts, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. People are like,
and
I remember hearing that like you could just get naked and everybody
yes.
would chill, and I'm like, bro, that's fucking,
No, I went. There was a couple. Like, I think if you're first or second year as a BFA, it's very loose. Like,
mhm.
if you come to class drunk or stoned or drugged out or whatever, you know, people don't care. I transferred in, so it was a different experience because I coming from a community college,
Mhm.
and it's a very technical vocational school. I
So you
went
did
to.
your BFA, not an MBA, or
No,
not MBA,
yeah, when I went to, yeah,
Masters of
right.
Business at Cal Arts,
No, it's funny
MFA.
when going to like my East LA college, that was like more vocational, like a business, because that program at East LA College, the photo program, is very technical, very commercial based. So I had that experience before going into Cal Arts, which was all like, we're just going to talk about work. We don't even make it. It's the concept of the work that you're thinking about is important. You're just like, but you're like, but can you print it? you
Yeah.
know, so that was my experience at Keller. It's like, it was very eye opening, and I have to admit that Kellart's taught me how to have thicker skin.
Yeah.
How to like absorb, like when you're getting critiqued, and it's not personal. As they say, it's not personal. It's just drag. That's how I think
Sometimes it
of
can be
it.
personal if you're
It could
not.
be personal, yes, but you got to learn how to,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
get more, and
How
yeah,
to like accept it as personal and be like, okay,
yeah, how
that
to like
person's just being a
separate.
dick.
Yeah,
Like
because
they don't
like,
really like think that about the work. They're just like angry at
no,
me as a
no.
person.
And
Um,
yeah, like CalArts was like, there was a lot of, it was personal. There was a lot of personal like
I
beefs
bet, man.
with faculty and students, and even like um people who work there too, just not our faculty, like maybe like behind the scenes who are like administration. So there's a lot of like weird shit going on, drugs,
Yeah.
And then, you know, it doesn't help that you're also on drugs and partying at the same time. So
Everybody smokes American Spirit.
yeah, it was like blue ribbon everywhere. I was like, this is like the hipsters, like CalArts is the hipster's wet dream.
Yeah, it
And
really is, because then you get to be all like, I mean, I don't want to hate on like, I don't even really know about the, there's, it's just, I'm kind of,
it's a safe space to hate. Let's just say that.
what's that?
It's
Yeah,
a safe
I don't,
space.
I don't want to like alienate people that went to Cal Arts, but it's like, it is especially because you went there too, and I've had friends, and I still have friends that went there, and they're chill, like they're
Yeah.
cool people, but.
Yeah.
Sort of, there is a when you get like, it's like if you know someone who's in a cult, they're cool, like maybe a Scientologist, but then you hang out with them and more Scientologists, you're like, oh shit. Not that that's ever happened to me, but I did once work at Pearl Art, and it was run by a Scientologist, and they hired a bunch of Scientologists.
Like for me, like I've had like it was a good and bad experience at CalArts. That's my like final take on that. It's like it was good, and most people I know, like who I went to, like they loved it, they miss it, they wish they could like have that experience, and I'm like, no, I would never want to have that experience ever again. Even as maybe even like a grad student, it's the same thing. It's like when I was there, like they put the grad students versus the undergrads a lot. And I hated that, because I'm like, you know, there was grad students who still don't know how to print a photograph if their life depended on it.
What did you think of our conversation? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our merch store. Special thanks to our patrons. To become a patron, go to patreon.com/whatsmythesis. All the links are in the description below.